Hi, I'm Joseph Shalom, CEO of SharpLink Gaming, and you're watching Taking Stock.
Stocks giving up their positive gains after the morning. And once we hit 12 noon or so, the tail of the tape down and to the right in a big way here on this trading Thursday on Wall Street. The S&P 500 expected to finish down about 0.7% on the slower day. Bank stocks specifically here on this trading Thursday in focus. Bad loans, credit-related losses, that suddenly becomes a big emerging storyline for the regional banks, despite the fact that earlier this week the story was how strong the big banks have been performing. Financials, the worst performing sector in the S&P 500. That and much more today on the show. And speaking of it, one and all, welcome to it. This is Taking Stock. I'm your host, JD Durkin, just moments away from the ringing of the iconic closing bell here at the New York Stock Exchange on this, what's today's date? Thursday, October 16th. We got the great team from Front Office Sports here to do the honors. As we said when we came into the open, the markets were in positive territory. Didn't exactly last long with the S&P 500 expected to now finish down 0.67 or so. The hardest hit sectors in the S&P, financials, energy, as well as telecom stocks. As for those Dow 30, those household names we talk so much about, strongest performing on the day, Salesforce, P&G, and Caterpillar, with Travelers, American Express leading losses to the downside. We got Amex earnings tomorrow. Time now for our favorite tradition here at the New York Stock Exchange, the one and only closing bell. Front Office Sports here to do the honors. Always gotta wait for the three gavels. The team from Front Office Sports here to do the honors on this Thursday, October 16th. The S&P 500 down 0.6%. The Dow 30 down about 0.6 as well. The NYSE Composite Index down about 0.9. Well, unfortunately for the small caps, the Russell 2000 bearing the worst of that off-trade rotation. Russell down 2% on this Thursday. It sets the stage for my man, Tim Bowen of StocksToTrade.com, one of my favorite go-to market guests here at the New York Stock Exchange, I believe making his Taking Stock debut. Welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks for having me again, man. I really appreciate it.
I mean, you and I oftentimes chat on the backdrop of all-time highs. That has been the story of the markets as of late.
Yes.
But we're getting these profit-taking days. We're getting a little bit of sense of jitters in the market. What do you look up? What do you see when you look up and you see all that red on the big board?
Well, again, this obviously you're going to have red days. I'm still, major bull in AI. A lot of these, whether it be the rare earth metals and all of these emerging sectors that still drive. I mean, you look at today, Nvidia still green. Palantir barely red on the day. So when you see these shakeouts, it doesn't really concern me that much.
Where would you say we are in terms of the overall market cycle? Obviously, we've got the Fed, we got geopolitical pressures, a lot of tariff and trade policy uncertainty. We were reminded of that last week from the president in no uncertain terms. Where would you say we are in this cycle, Tim?
Well, I saw a quote by Paul Tudor Jones recently. Again, I think that there's a big pullback coming, but I think it's a long way out. I just think that we have one of the most pro-stock market presidents possibly ever, and he's just going to keep pumping until probably midterm, so it's a long ways away.
Yeah, do you get the sense this is a president uniquely focused? He says he doesn't pay attention to the
stock
market,
but
we tend to see that post on social media, pretty conveniently timed to sell off.
He probably checks the markets more than I do. He says he doesn't watch it, but he watches it. He knows that it's the mood of the country. It drives that. That's what drives votes. That's what drives the optimism of the country. So he cares about the stock market 100%.
Tim, where are you right now in this ongoing AI bubble debate? It's not just the valuation, but look at these forward-looking PE multiples for a lot of these stocks. Not quite at historic highs, but maybe to a concerning level to at least a few voices here on Wall Street.
Well, I didn't coin this phrase, but I always think of it during times like this. It's, a bubble is a bull market you're not participating in. Okay, everyone likes to call that bubble. But I mean, I grew up in technology. I had an internet company back in the early 90s. I helped build the internet, the mobile phone, etc. This is the most game-changing technology I've ever seen in my life because it changes efficiency, it creates, you look at some of these medical cures, new product developments. This is different. I put it up there with the wheel and fire, so I don't consider it a bubble yet, okay? So.
The wheel, fire, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
Talk to me about a few of the other bigger macroeconomic headwinds that are on your horizon that you think investors may benefit from paying a little bit more attention to.
Well, I think that, again, I think we're just going to get continued rate cuts, which a lot of what we do at Stocks to Trade, what I do, we trade small caps, okay? Small caps love cheaper money, helps drive them higher. They always got to borrow money. So I just see another rate cut coming and just continued, whether or not it's the right decision for the economy or not, I just think that back to Trump, going to continue to put pressure for lower rates. It'll get them to leave them alone on social media, on TV, and I love it for small caps. So IWM, all these speculative plays.
Yeah, how do you approach the seasonality? September did not really bring the bout of selling it historically has, and there have been a lot of questions about how that sets us up for Q4. So far, yeah, you've had the notable pullbacks, but we're still right about at all-time highs.
Yes, so kind of like what I said earlier. I just think we've got a long way to go before any sort of appreciable pullback. Sure, we got down days, but then tomorrow's probably going to be a big green day, so you can capitalize on the fact that the trend is still, in my opinion, very strong.
Yeah, we like to say the trend is your friend,
yes,
Tim,
100%.
and I like to ask guests who are smarter than I am, and you certainly fit the bill. One story that's top of mind, could be personal finance, the economy, the broader world of business, that you think we should all be paying a little bit more attention to.
But the biggest, well, I mean, it's kind of like, it's out there, but rare earths, again, flying in, I listened to a Sean Ryan podcast with the CEO of the metals company, Gerard Barron. You see all of this production, I think, coming out of China back to the U.S. I know it's kind of a played out idea, but I love these U.S.-based rare earth ideas.
There you go. All right, Tim Bowen of StocksToTrade.com, one of my favorite guests here at the NYSE community, making his Taking Stock debut. You're welcome back anytime, my man.
Thank you.
Next,
Thank you again.
Next time we'll do it, though, we'll get the markets in positive territory.
There we go. I promise.
Josh, going to grab your mic. Todd, you and I are going to go for a walk here. Off we go. Where'd the whole crowd go? That was a big crowd. We got big crowds, and we got like really big crowds. And here for Front Office Sports today was a big crowd. All right, so it's a big day here in New York City. Tonight is the mayoral debate. We're going to take a look at Polymarket odds about who is expected to win the New York City mayoral race. Zohran Mamdani, 88% chance in the hearts and minds of Polymarket participants. Andrew Cuomo, former governor of the state, only 11%. That particular contract's more than $180 million in total volume. We get that must-watch debate at 7 o'clock here in New York City later on tonight. Todd, we'll take a look at two NYSE notables on the day. Walmart, not its strongest session, down more than 2%. A pullback after reaching fresh all-time highs yesterday. The stock is up 4% or so above its 50-day moving average, still up 17% year-to-date. The ninth best performing name in the Dow so far here in 2025. The average one-year price target on Walmart sits at $114 a share. That means upside potential of about another 8 to 9%. And Todd, quickly, we'll take a look at shares here at Oracle. Every week we're looking at Oracle, up 3% towards the top of its recent trading range, securing a deal this week with OpenAI to deploy 50,000 AI chips from AMD. The stock is up 88% this year, still off its all-time highs from Wednesday, September 10th, by about 9%. All right, at this point of the show, our very own Ashley Mastronardi sat down with IonQ CEO Niccolo de Masi to discuss why he believes quantum is in fact the next step in the computing revolution. Take a look.
So what is Quantum? Quantum Beach 2025, a West Palm Beach conference aimed at making quantum more accessible, aims to answer that question and so much more. Here to tell us more about it is IonQ chairman and CEO and a leader in the space, Niccolo de Masi. Niccolo, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Ashley. Thank you for having me.
So what have your takeaways been from Quantum Beach 2025 so far?
Well, as you probably know, IonQ is the biggest company in the business of quantum. We have the largest market cap, the most revenue, the most patents, the most people. And we're a company that's really 30 years in the making. What makes us unique is that we're not only the leader in quantum computing, but also the leader in quantum networking, and quantum cybersecurity, and also the leader in quantum sensing. And I think what we're hearing and learning in Palm Beach, at Quantum Beach this day, is that Palm Beach County and Florida is ready for all of our solutions, which is really quite exciting for us. We've seen fantastic engagement with both local and state political leaders. We've seen fantastic engagement with corporate leaders in the neighborhood. And people recognize the need to keep their data safe. They recognize that the future of the internet is going to be what we call the quantum internet. We're going to capture data using our quantum sensors. We're going to compute that data using our quantum computers, and we'll be able to transmit it securely using our quantum networks. And so IonQ is the only full stack, not just hardware and software player, but also full stack quantum internet player. And I think Florida and Palm Beach County and West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Town are all embracing us eagerly, and we're really excited about that.
And for our viewers who may just be learning about quantum for the first time, what exactly is quantum and what can it do?
Well, quantum computing is the next leg of the computing revolution. So we're about 70, 80 years into the concept of artificial intelligence and the concept of machines that can perform useful calculations. And we've, of course, gone from early days of the transistor to the CPU in the 80s and 90s being where the action is at, to GPUs being very important, of course, and companies like NVIDIA and Broadcom and AMD rising to the forefront at the expense of companies like Intel. The quantum computing revolution will do the same thing in the coming years, I think, to GPUs that GPUs have done to CPUs. We can debate the time horizons, but ultimately right now GPUs and quantum computers will begin working together ever more. And there will come a day when our quantum computers are so much more powerful, so much more space efficient, energy efficient, and cost effective that we believe our QPUs, as we call them, will ultimately start to replace GPUs. Now, that's only one piece of our business. Quantum sensing and quantum networking is the rest of what we call the business of quantum, and it's the rest of our product families. And IonQ is very proud of the fact that we work with not only commercial companies from drug discovery and pharmaceutical through to logistics and aerospace, but also defense companies. And we do a lot with defense companies nationwide. There's a big defense community, of course, in North Palm Beach and Florida in general. And so we feel like the full suite of our products can actually be fully utilized, deployed, and embraced in Florida and in Palm Beach County itself.
Niccolo de Masi, IonQ Chairman and CEO, thank you for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again soon, and always enjoy ringing the bell. We've done it a couple times this year, and we always love the visit. So thank you so much for your support.
You need to know on this Thursday. First up, crypto majors continue to slide today on U.S.-China trade war fears. Am I grabbing this? Is that for me? Let's do it. Welcome back to the show. All right, here's the latest in fintech, crypto, AI you need to know. All the crypto majors continue to slide today on fears of the ongoing U.S.-China trade war, all down between 2% and 4%. Next up, Citi analysts say OpenAI would need to spend over $1 trillion by the year 2030 to deliver its promised computing power. And finally, the Wall Street Journal reports that AI data centers starved for electricity are increasingly bypassing the power grid by building on-site natural gas turbines and fuel cells. That's the latest you need to know in the world of fintech, crypto, and AI. Is this mic working? Oh, we're so back. John D'Agostino joins the show now, head of institutional strategy at Coinbase, a good friend of ours here at Taking Stock. My man, welcome back. Good to have you.
Good to see you, JD.
Of course, I'm gonna do a little bit of this because I think my mic's not working. What is the overview so far on Coinbase Institutional since the last time we talked? Tell me about the things that have been top of mind for you and the team at Coinbase.
Sure. So, last time we spoke, I think, was just around when we announced the acquisition of Deribit, the largest options exchange in the Middle East. We've recently announced another investment into the largest exchange in India. So I think the theme is you've got fungible instruments, globally fungible instruments, and Coinbase is an international company providing that liquidity across the globe.
How is Coinbase working with traditional finance TradFi service firms today, and how does that evolution of those relationships play itself out?
So that's a great question, because I think what's changed, maybe not since the last time we spoke, but certainly in the last 6-7 months, is crypto has sort of transitioned from being this purely speculative tool to a major asset class. And so it's now accessed in the same way that you would access stocks, commodities, fixed income. And what's changed, though, very recently is this massive unlock of Morgan Stanley and other large private wealth platforms announcing they will allow their brokers, their high net worth advisors, to proactively sell this asset class. It's a very important point because despite the tremendous growth, all of that growth was achieved with these instruments being not allowed to be sold by the tens of thousands of advisors out there. So now that that's turning on, and you have these instruments like ETFs and spot and futures and options and perps, we see significant inflows coming down the road.
Yeah, what are you seeing more broadly with your outlook on crypto? We talked about the fact that the crypto majors were down today, but it wasn't all that long ago. We had Bitcoin reaching 125, a fresh all-time high. How are you approaching the crypto major performance into Q4?
Look, there's some volatility here, there's no question. There tends to be volatility in growth assets. I'd argue in some way it's a feature, not a bug. Volatility is itself not risk, it is a component of risk. Bitcoin and other crypto assets over the longer term have exhibited the good kind of volatility, the upside volatility. We all like upside vol. So during periods like this, you just got to stay strong, dollar cost average in, don't try to time the market, invest intelligently based on your sizing, proper sizing, and remember, pull back and remember this has been the best performing asset class for 10 out of the 11 prior years.
Yeah, we always say it's time in the markets, not time in the markets, right? We say that for equities, we say that for the crypto majors as well. Stable coins, you and I were talking before we came back from break.
Sure.
Oh, what a hot topic of conversation. Every time I turn around, I'm hearing more and more about stable coins. What is on your radar these days so that overall conversation continues to evolve, John?
So we had the big, in this case, regulatory unlock, which was the Genius Act that started to made all of this work. And now we're seeing the, I'd say, corporate unlock, where 8 out of 10 of the largest banks have announced interest in building their own stable coins. There is going to be an arms race to see who can dominate and gather liquidity. We do hope that it's a level playing field and that all issuers are allowed to compete and offer rewards and dividends and interest so consumers can benefit from that. But we are embarking on a new wonderful world where value can be transferred very simply, very cheaply, and very cleanly around the planet on a nanosecond level of latency.
All right, that's awesome. John D'Agostino, you're always welcome here to make the case. Thank you very much for joining us once again from Coinbase Institutional. Great to have you, my man.
Great to see you.
All right, folks, coming up, don't go anywhere. The latest on startups, races, and rounds, plus an interview with Adam White and Dan Robert of Front Office Sports. Taking Stock comes back after this. All right, let's do it, folks. Welcome back to the broadcast. Today in the world of startups, raises, and rounds you need to know at this hour. First up, AI startup Anthropic aiming to nearly triple revenue by as much as $26 billion next year, powered by surging enterprise demand and its popular Claude AI models. Next up, Japan's tech and finance giant Rakuten, that's a big sports sponsor, right on tap for these guys, reportedly weighing a U.S. IPO for its credit card business. It's a move that could value the unit at over $7 billion. And finally, MIT spin-out Vertical Semiconductor, raising a cool $11 million to build next-gen power chips that aim to cut energy loss in AI data centers. All right, time now for the show where I interview not just two awesome guests, but two guests who just rang the closing bell. We got CEO Adam Way and editor-in-chief Dan Robert of Front Office Sports. Adam, Dan, fellas, welcome to the Stock Exchange. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have both of you guys. First of all, front and center. Yeah. Can I ask you guys, have you ever done the bell before? What was this experience
First
like?
time.
And for you guys to have, look at Front Office Sports branded everywhere. What was it like for you, Adam?
It's great. I mean, first time for me specifically. I know Dan has spent a lot of time here at the Exchange in a previous life, but it was great to be here. Kind of, again, we're celebrating the ideal of sports being a truly big business and asset class now. The amount of capital, both from a private and an institutional standpoint, that's flowing into sports is at levels we've never seen before. And so to do it here at the Stock Exchange, to see everything there, to see it celebrated is really, really cool.
Yeah, Dan, I mean, I feel like if you've been a sports reporter, you've covered sports for a long time, the ecosystem today looks way different than the early days of Chris Berman at Sports Center. How do you track teams like valuations, private val, the work of private equity on sports? It's a whole different ballgame.
Well, I say it all the time, and I said it on stage when we opened our event today, which was here at the NYSE, that even though it was always the case that investing in sports was a thing that people knew was smart and exciting, something has hockey sticked in the last few years. Things have dramatically accelerated. You know, in a 6-month period, we got news of the Celtics sale, and everyone said, all-time record for a U.S. franchise, $6 billion. Then suddenly, the Niners sold a minority stake that valued them at $8.6 billion, and everyone went, new record. And then the Lakers sold at a $10 billion valuation, and everyone said, new record. So that pace, that acceleration, is what we write about every day, and that's why Asset Class, our newsletter, and our live event that we debuted today is really taking off, because there's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement here, and I think everyone sees the opportunity in sports and business.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the newsletter. Guys, tell me all about Asset Class as a newsletter. What sparked this idea, the genesis of it, and where can people go to learn more about it?
Well, it's a twice weekly newsletter, and it's a complement to our flagship newsletter that has 800,000 subscribers, which we get out 2 per weekday and Saturday and Sunday. So this is a franchise-specific newsletter. It's also our deals reporter Ben Horney's kind of beat now that everything in sports and money, and you might think, well, isn't that everything you already do as a business of sports site? But it's specific on new forms of capital. It's private equity, it's VC, it's also private capital. I mean, in the last week, we've heard the Big Ten is considering a private fundraise or private capital fundraise, not private equity, mind you, that might be from a pension fund. So in other words, tons of money is flooding in, not just to pro sports, not just to women's sports, youth sports, and also in college is a huge story. And so that's what Asset Class is all about, is all of this at once. And we're very focused as a news publication on our lane, but that lane is enormous. I mean, there's so much runway there. There is no shortage of news and storylines to cover every day for us.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are taking a lot of your cues from your audience, your loyal readers, your viewers of your daily show. What type of feedback have they given you, especially here? We're in the best, in my opinion, we're in the best part of the sports season, right? We got baseball playoffs, hockey, basketball about to start, NFL season week 7. At this time of the year, what are they telling you that they want to see and learn more about?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's really been about all of the things that Dan and the team have been covering. They want to see more about finance. They want to see more about women's sports. Women's sports has taken off for us, obviously, because there's a massive interest in now women's sports, both from a capital standpoint and a viewership and an audience side of things. And so it's all of those things. It's college sports. I mean, there's no bigger story right now in kind of, let's call it the intersection of sports and business than college sports. And so that's what we always kind of talk about internally, that every sports story is a business story. In a lot of ways it is, right? There is a money entanglement with all of these major stories, and every single major industry in some way, shape, or form is tuned in to a sports, whether it's finance, whether it's media, whether it's tech. The biggest headlines coming out of Silicon Valley or LA from an entertainment standpoint is what sporting event is Netflix going to broadcast next. Amazon is in sports, Apple is in sports, right? Like sports, we were talking about this, and one of the people on the stage was saying today, it's like the last bastion of community, and so for everyone, doesn't matter your political beliefs, whatever it is, whatever you think about, you're going to talk about sports in some way, shape, or form, or you're going to be brought together by sports. And I think that's why there's such an interest from a capital standpoint, an audience side of things, and just because of the fact that like all of these people specifically, it's a sophistication. Many of them have now sophisticated their taste beyond what's just happening on the field. Sure. They want to know who owns things. They want to know where the money is going, right? And that's really a kind of a nice upswing for us.
I'm about out of time. Real quick, choice to win the World Series?
Oh, it's gonna be the Dodgers.
You like the Dodgers? Dodgers for you too? That's a tough.
I don't know. It's a tough one. You know, I think the league would like the Dodgers. I think a lot of people
Fair
would like the
enough.
media partners would like the Dodgers. I would love to see maybe a little bit of a change up. Maybe it's the Mariners. You know, maybe we get the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
Get this
Yankees
exciting.
are out. Let's see what Toronto gets.
Let's see what can happen.
Big games 3 and game 4 tonight. We got the Steelers on Thursday Night Football as well. Fellas, thank you both for being here. Congratulations. Great to have you guys. Folks, don't go anywhere after a very quick break. Another Quantum Deep Dive, this time with Alan Barrett of D-Wave Quantum. Don't go anywhere. More Taking Stock coming up from the NYSE after this.
D-Wave is one of the quantum companies that touched down in West Palm Beach for Quantum Beach 2025, a conference dedicated to demystifying quantum technology and making it accessible to all. Joining me now is Dr. Alan Baratz, a leader in the space and president and CEO at D-Wave Quantum, who just spoke at the conference. Dr. Baratz, welcome to NYSE Live.
Ashley, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
First, in the most basic sense, what is quantum?
Well, quantum computing is really just energy efficient computing for solving hard computational problems. But more specifically, it's using quantum mechanical effects, things like superposition, entanglement, and tunneling, to solve hard problems faster, better, and with lower energy consumption than they can be solved by today's computers.
What have your takeaways been from the conference so far?
The conference has been great. One of the things that I really like about this conference is that it's focusing on applications of quantum technology. A lot of the conferences that are covering quantum are really just talking about quantum technology, not how to apply quantum technology to solve important real-world problems. And this conference is focused on that. It's also focused on how to build a quantum workforce that can help to propel the industry into the future.
Earlier this year, D-Wave shared results that some interpreted as a major milestone in quantum performance. Can you walk us through those results and what it might mean for future applications, including areas like blockchain?
Earlier this year, we basically demonstrated that our quantum computers are able to solve an important, useful, real-world problem in minutes that cannot be solved by classical computers. This was a problem in the area of computing properties of magnetic materials. We solved the problem in minutes. It would take well over 1 million years to solve it on the fastest supercomputer. So this is the first true example of quantum supremacy. We were then able to show how you could use that computation to create a new blockchain with a quantum proof of work. And what's so exciting and important about this is that this would be a blockchain, think a new cryptocurrency that first of all is quantum safe, and secondly uses far less electricity. For example, if Bitcoin was using this quantum proof of work rather than its current proof of work, Bitcoin mining today would be consuming about 1,000 times less electricity.
All right, Dr. Alan Baratz, President and CEO at D-Wave Quantum. Thank you for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.
My pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be with you.
Thanks for taking the time to watch Taking Stock, and we will see you tomorrow.